And welcome to episode 4 of RaiderZone the podcast. As we have a small panel here today, just myself and Brendan DeVinny, as it's a busy Monday for the sports team, and this will probably be a quicker show because of that. But Brendan, how are you feeling on this Monday?
I'm good. I'm in quarantine right now, actually. So
okay,
moved home for the last week here.
Did you come in close contact with a case, or?
Yeah, my roommates were dumb enough and went to an Ohio State Rutgers watch party, which is the worst watch party you can go to, I think. But
yeah, not even a good game.
It was not a good game.
But I guess it wasn't a terrible game. Rutgers did better than anticipated. 27 points. Didn't expect that, but nonetheless,
was not worth putting 4 people in the quarantine. So
no, not at all.
Nope.
So we'll jump right into it. We're going to talk about the MLB first. So we talked about last week. We picked our winners on who would win the awards, who we thought would win the awards. Shane Bieber and Trevor Bauer, they both won the Cy Young Award. That was pretty sure unanimous between all of us last week in the panel, so there's no surprises there. Now the MVP award, Jose Abreu of the White Sox wins the American League Award, and for the National League, the Braves, Freddie Freeman takes home the award. Both very emotional. I don't know if you got to watch the videos of them getting the call, but as always, an emotional call when you get named the most valuable player in your respective league. Were you surprised with these picks? I know I picked Jose Ramirez and Freddie Freeman. I can't remember. Did you pick? You picked Abreu, right? And then Mookie Betts, I believe.
Yeah, I figured Abreu would win. He just had the better overall season. I would have loved Ramirez, obviously. He just had 2 or 3 good weeks towards the end there that put him in that category. I did pick Mookie Betts just because of the impact that he had in the postseason, but I guess you have to keep in mind that it is a regular season award. And it still didn't change my opinion between Freeman and Betts. I still think Betts is the better overall player.
Yeah, for sure.
But Freeman did put up the better numbers. He's a veteran. He's been in the league a long time, and finally be able to get that award. Obviously, really emotional with that video. Him and his family, so can't argue with it for sure. But I would have liked to see Betts win it over him, though.
Yeah, no, I wasn't shocked with either. I picked Jose just because I don't know. The AL was a really close race. I don't really think that I think they were all really close races, but I thought LeMahieu was for sure the bottom feeder. I thought it was going to be one of the Jose's. For the National League, though, I think the thing that gave Freddie the edge is, like you said, the really good numbers. Mookie's on a team, too, where when he has an off week, there's still 8 guys in the lineup that can put the ball out of the park. Freeman's in a really good lineup as well, but he's the leader of a really young lineup. So he's not only seen as a captain, but he's seen as, you could even see him as a kind of a coach, That's a really young Braves team, a really good team, but when there's a lot to remember when it comes to being 20, 22, and everybody on the team being that age.
He's definitely a father figure for sure to all those young guys. Acuna, Ozuna. It's definitely going to be interesting to see these next couple of years how long he's able to produce at an MVP level and see if he can help lead that Atlanta team to a World Series, because they're right there.
Yeah, it's
they're
really
just missing a couple pieces, I think.
Yeah.
With pitching, I think.
Yep.
The lineup is definitely able to get to a World Series, but that team is made for the Fall Classic for sure.
Yeah, and it's really a shame when you think about missing a piece at pitching. You look back to Mike Soroka tearing his Achilles walking off the mound on his first start of the season. He was their ace. I mean, he was supposed to be the guy that goes out there and gets them in the position to win every start he has. And to go down early, I mean, they were still a great season by their rotation. But, I mean, if you have Soroka, you don't blow that 3-1 lead. He's the kind of guy that staples that game-clinching, that series-clinching win. So you look back at that and you're just like, what if, And that's what always sucks is the teams that have those rosters but an injury is what I mean. You look back at other World Series, 2016 Cubs Indians. The Indians were banged up. They should not even have been to the World Series that year. Um, last year,
I look at the Toronto teams
yeah,
of 15 and 16, even 17, where they had Jose Bautista, and they still have him, but no, they don't actually. But you have guys like Edwin Encarnacion and Josh Donaldson, and a really good lineup that took you to the ALCS and were just never able to punch their ticket. You're always going to have teams like that, but if it's any team, I really hope Atlanta finally pulls through and breaks that glass.
For sure. So moving on, in recent news, the Miami Marlins hire Kim Ng as the MLB's first female general manager. Brendan, what does this mean for the sport, for the Marlins, and just for females in sports?
Yeah, I mean, the WNBA gets a lot of flack for being, not exciting to watch, and they argue that they should get paid more and closer to the same amount than the NBA guys. But we're getting into a day and age where it's so easy for women to be able to have the same talent and resumes than men. There's getting more and more female coaches in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco just had the first female coach in the dugout. This year for the Giants. I saw a story how the Yankees have a female hitting coach in their developmental program. You talk about what's her name for ESPN, female broadcaster, played softball. Jessica Mendoza.
Oh yeah.
On Sunday Night Baseball, the Orioles had the first play-by-play female broadcaster this year. You're getting these, more and more first female this, first female that. I think once you break all those glass ceilings, then it makes it easier for women to just have a normal job in sports. I think it's going to take a long time for it to just become normal, because I don't think it is right now. Now, players, are you going to have a female baseball player? I don't know. That conversation came to the forefront when Monet Davis in the Little League World Series. That was a big talk of whether she can go to the major leagues or not. I don't know. I don't think I should be making a comment like that, whether they should or not. But it's definitely good to see Kim Ng, a great baseball mind. And it is easy for anyone to have a great baseball mind.
Mm-hmm.
You can take a look at who's good and not. Take a look at the analytics and be a GM, whether you're a guy or a girl. So it's definitely good to see Marlins doing the right thing, and this is definitely the start of more and more females in higher leadership in sports.
Yeah, and I agree. You named a lot of names, and the strides are taken. And yeah, there's a lot of more and more coaches, refs, commentators that are female. But a position like this, I think, is a huge stepping stone as far as females working their way up in the corporate ladder of sports. The first female general manager, that's huge. There's only 30 of those in baseball, and I mean, not much more. There's 32 in football, 30 in basketball. So it's a huge stepping stone, a big deal, and I think it's going to open the doors going down the road as far as working their way up. And it's only going to be a matter of time before we start seeing managers or head coaches for sports teams that are female. And like you said, what's that?
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a GM in basketball in the next few years.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not like
you take Becky Hammond.
Yeah, exactly. It's if you have the mind and you have the skill, it doesn't matter your gender. You deserve the role, and it's good to see someone who's been in baseball for so long and doing great things for baseball, get her shot at a position like this within the Marlins organization. So kudos to Derek Jeter as well for taking that step. Doing a lot down there in Miami. Whatever he's doing is working. I mean, they made the playoffs this year, so.
Remember, he was getting so much flack for letting everyone go.
Oh yeah.
When he first took over as owner,
takes over, trades Stanton.
He quickly turned that around.
Yeah, trades Stanton, trades Yelich, trades Ozuna, trades Real Muto. You look back at that team though, man, they were stacked. But they were all so young that they weren't even doing anything. Really they weren't even doing anything. They were so young. But
True.
So last topic here in baseball, free agency. We have 2 more free agents signed this past week as Kevin Gausman signs a 1-year deal to remain with the Giants and Marcus Stroman signs a 1-year deal to remain with the Mets, which the Stroman one came to no surprise. We know Cohen, he wants to keep the team together and add some big pieces. So, Brendan, with that being said, adding Stroman, there's talks about maybe getting a Bauer or another big pitcher in the free agency. But right now with DeGrom, Syndergaard, Stroman, Matz, and the other guys they have, where do you rank the Mets rotation in baseball?
It's definitely closer to the top now. They've always been producing. I still think Cleveland might have a top 3 rotation in baseball. The Yankees have had kind of a consistently dominant rotation as well. You're just naming those names there, though. They're all have all been Cy Young candidates at least once in their careers. Mm-hmm. So that's really good, a good omen for the Mets rotation. I still think, though, I still want to say, like, under new ownership now, but they said that they're just going to leave it to the baseball minds. It really doesn't have an effect on anything there in New York. They still need to get that lineup going. The pitching only gets you so far. Like of the Indians, it will only get you so far.
Yeah, and I agree.
They definitely have a solid rotation. Probably it'll be interesting to see next year. Is it's going to be top 5 or not? Obviously DeGrom is always on the Cy Young list every year. It seems like
just for his name.
It's definitely they definitely have the arms, and I can't say anything bad about it.
Yeah. And they're trying to add a guy like Lindor. If that happens, that helps significantly. But as far as rotation goes, yes, it is. It's at least top 5 for me. I agree. Indians, Yankees, even Dodgers are up there. The Reds, they're losing Bauer, but this past season I'd put them high up. But the Mets are probably right there.
It's interesting to see where Bauer goes.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big that's a big piece. Did you see what they said about or what Bauer said the other day? In an interview about his 1-year deals.
Are we just gonna keep doing them?
Yeah, he's not. He made a bet with his friend that he'll never sign a long-term deal. He'll only sign 1-year contracts. So,
what's the strategy behind that? You to get more money?
Long term.
I guess it gives him control over where he wants to go.
That it's got to be controlled, because if you think about it, long term is where the money's at. Because if he were to tear his arm up next year, he's screwed. But if you sign a long term deal with guaranteed money, so I think it's just control of where he goes, and I think he wants to. I don't know if he wants to go like on a world tour or something and prove how good he is, but he's an insane guy.
Play for every team.
He's an insane guy with a lot of talent. Who knows what's going through his head at any moment? So.
But the technology that he uses to develop his pitching, his arm will probably never go out. So
probably not. So that will end everything for baseball. We'll move on to the NBA now. As in recent news is what we'll start with. Reports say that the Brooklyn Nets are the top destination of James Harden's trade list. As James Harden requests a trade, Sixers are rumored to be on that list as well. Brendan, if he is traded to the Nets, where are they the favorite in the East? If they have a team with Kyrie, KD, and James Harden?
They're definitely Eastern Conference Finals contender. That's for sure. Harden and Durant and Kyrie, the next big 3. in the East. I mean, it would be instant like that. The only concern, though, right now is that they've never played together.
Mm-hmm.
And even Durant and Kyrie, they have not been on the same floor together yet. We haven't seen that because they've been injured. So
remember when the Cavs got Kyrie and Kevin Love, and they started like 20 and 22 when they had their big three start out? They started really slow. So
it takes a long time for big threes and super teams to gel and mesh together and ultimately become an NBA Finals team. You kind of saw that with the Lakers not making the playoffs that one year. You saw that with Golden State as well. It took a long time until we were, watching and focusing on the Warriors. So it definitely makes them a contender for sure. You take a look at the other teams in the East, the Bucks, the Heat. If they're going to be in the way, Toronto, I don't know how long Toronto has left in the tank on the run that they're going on.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if this even happens. If Harden even considers.
Yeah, this is a big
I think he should. I think he should because there's talks about Westbrook leaving. So that leaves Harden out in the open. He's alone now in Houston. And the Rockets now have a new GM. Yeah. So I think because it's been proven, you can't do it yourself in the NBA. You need superstars around you.
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn would give you two other superstars. So I would definitely love to see, a big three in the East again.
Yeah, you definitely can't do it by yourself. The only man that can get a team to the playoffs by himself is LeBron, but you definitely can't win it all by yourself.
LeBron can get to the finals by himself.
Yeah, I mean, he proved that with the Cavs. But if he does go to the Brooklyn Nets, I would say they're the favorite, yes. Miami, they're losing a lot to free agency. They need to add a piece to complement Jimmy Butler, another proven point. You can't do it by yourself. Milwaukee, I don't know. They seem like such a good team on paper, but last year's playoff performance, there's some worries there. And then, I mean, I think they'd be better than Philadelphia, no doubt in my mind. I think the biggest threat to Brooklyn would be Boston, in my opinion.
Boston, yeah, I forgot about that.
If it were to come down to who's the favorite in the East, I think Boston would probably put up the best fight. But nonetheless, I think Brooklyn, you have that big three. I mean, Kyrie's better than Kemba. KD's better than I can't think of it, Jason Tatum. And then James Harden's better than Jaylen Brown. So at that point,
they're all better than Gordon Hayward. I think Kyrie is without a doubt the best point guard in the East.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing would be meshing. Boston has really good team chemistry, and that's what keeps them in a lot of games and a lot of series. So it would
they have a good coach too, Brad Stevens. Yeah. I can't even name Brooklyn's coach.
Yeah. So it would be a big factor in whether they're the favorite or not. If they all mesh from the get-go, then yes, Brooklyn's far and away the favorite. But if they're struggling with three big egos, and we know James Harden and Kyrie are two of the biggest egos in the game.
And it wasn't even proven that he got along with Westbrook too.
Yeah, so
that
could be three of the biggest egos in the sport on the same team, same floor. There's no saying if you don't have the right coach there either. It could be a lot to handle. So I don't know. It's gonna be that definitely be a fun team to watch though. So moving on, also in recent news, very recent news as of this afternoon, Chris Paul is a Phoenix Sun, as he and another have been traded to the Suns, and Oklahoma City receives 4 players and a first rounder. 2 of the players included are Kelly Oubre and Ricky Rubio. Brendan, who won this trade, and what does this mean for the Suns, a team that was right on the brink of making the postseason last year with their great bubble run? Did the Suns win? Did the Thunder win? Overall, though, what does Chris Paul mean for Phoenix?
Well, he means some veteran leadership in that locker room that I think you need on every team. Yeah, they went undefeated in the bubble and then didn't make the actual playoffs. So I definitely think that they won this trade. Take a look at their roster that I have to just look at and now change because they lost Oubre, Rubio, and Jerome, but you still have Michael Bridges, Javon Carter, Cameron Payne, obviously Devin Booker, and now you put Chris Paul in that starting five. I definitely think that they won the trade. I've lost all faith in Oklahoma City. They're getting a new coach, I think, this upcoming year.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Overall, I think this means that the Suns got better with their depth. Losing Rubio and Oubre definitely hurts, but I think you bring in a veteran leader like Chris Paul, and that cancels losing those two guys out. So definitely a good look for the Suns. And now, the question is, can they take the next step and make the playoffs? Because they've been on the rise for a long time here.
Yeah, I agree the Suns won this trade. Chris Paul was single-handedly the reason OKC made the playoffs last year, and he even got MVP votes talks because of that. Without him, OKC is not a playoff team. Oubre is a great player. Rubio's a decent player, yes, but I think OKC and if Houston ends up losing Westbrook and Harden, they're out, and they'll be replaced by Phoenix. And it's to be determined, I guess. But nonetheless, I do think Phoenix won this trade, and I think it can get them over the hump and to getting into the postseason. Like you said, they need that veteran leadership.
Thunder roster here.
Yeah, they have DeAndre Ayton, Michael Bridges, Devin Booker. Those would be three of their starters. I don't know who'd start at the three at this point because Oubre was the three. So that's going to be a hill.
Schroeder.
Schroeder's going to be traded to. Are you talking about OKC or Phoenix?
I'm just looking. Yeah, I forgot that was the day that Schroeder got traded.
Yeah, OKC's losing Schroeder too, so Ricky Rubio is probably going to be their starting point guard. So,
don't put I would not want Ricky Rubio as my point guard.
That's why I think Phoenix made out in this situation. They gained a star point guard to put next to their star shooting guard and a very good young front court that's on the rise. I think they're going to be a dangerous team to come, and there's still the draft. I mean, Phoenix has the 10th pick. Who says they can't add their three-man there? So I think Phoenix won this trade. They're going to add a big piece at the 10th overall pick, and they're going to go. They're going to be in the playoffs next year. Not much has happened in free agency since it started, but Anthony Davis declines his player option. We all saw it coming. He's searching for a long-term deal. Is he staying with the Lakers, though, or do you think there's a chance he could move, or is it a given?
No, it's definitely a given that he stays. He knows that. Lakers know that. You got smart people in that room taking care of this deal. And the smartest person of all, LeBron James. Those two guys know that they're not going to win another championship without each other. They're getting better, obviously, with the deal with Schroeder now going to the Lakers. So, yeah, this will get done soon enough. They'll sign off on a deal that'll keep him there. I don't know how long, be a short-term deal, but definitely Davis staying with the Lakers.
And I agree with you. I think he stays with the Lakers. It's a given. I don't know. I don't see why you wouldn't after you win the NBA Finals and you have a chance to continue to play with LeBron James. Why you would throw that away just because you want a long-term deal.
Jacob, what do you think? I'm kidding.
I was going to say, did Jacob join without me seeing? I was like, where's he at? Yeah, Jacob a little disappointed he couldn't come tonight. Had other.
He's our NBA expert.
Yeah, so. And he was a little upset, but nonetheless, I think he stays with the Lakers. So that's going to take us to some fun now here, Brendan. We're going to talk NBA draft. The draft is this Wednesday. We'll talk top 10 picks. and we'll do a little bit of a mock draft.
Yeah, so everyone has Anthony Edwards going to the Timberwolves, and I do too. We'll gelling nicely there with Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns coming out of Georgia. I think before we just talk about this mock draft, it's crazy that there are not more well-known college players going into this draft compared to that with the NFL draft.
Yeah,
everyone knows about Trevor Lawrence in this upcoming draft, and among others, no one knows anyone except maybe the ball guy, LaMelo Ball, and maybe Obi Toppin. But the NBA draft just has a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah, they do. I agree with you though. Anthony Edwards first overall. He's a shooting guard out of Georgia, and it just makes sense. You have D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns, a point guard and a big man. He would complement well with Russell, I believe. You just got rid of Andrew Wiggins. I think it makes the most sense. And he's arguably the best player coming into this draft class. So why not take the best available when he fits to what you need? So I think it's a given. A lot of people say LaMelo Ball might go 1 overall, but I don't see why they'd take a point guard when they have D'Angelo Russell. So I'm going to go Anthony Edwards. And that takes us to the 2nd overall pick, Golden State Warriors. It's crazy to think that they have the 2nd overall pick and they have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson returning, along with Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green. Where are they going, Brendan?
James Wiseman out of Memphis. Memphis, the basketball school there. Only 19. Will be a nice center to add to that depth, add to that starting lineup. And once everyone comes back off the injured list, which is the reason why they have the 2nd overall pick, everyone got injured, and no one was able to keep the Warriors afloat this past year. So add James Wiseman to that bench at least. I don't know if he'll start, but he might. But add him to that lineup, and they'll immediately go back to the NBA Finals this upcoming year, which might be a stretch. If Houston this upcoming year cleans house, that would be a heck of a conference finals, Lakers and Warriors, because I do think that the Warriors are going to be the Warriors of the past 5 years this upcoming season.
Yeah, and this is a tough pick for me because part of me feels like Golden State's never really cared about the center position, and they might go like a guy like LaMelo for trade bait or something. But I mean, when you have those 4, you might as well compliment them. So I agree with you. I'm going James Wiseman, 2nd overall. 7'1", 240. He'll be the first. I don't want to sound mean, but really talented center they have, I think. I mean, you look at the centers they've had in the past. JaVale McGee, he gets the job done. Andrew Bogut, They brought in Varejao for a little bit there when they played in 2016. But
he came off the bench, yeah.
I think Wiseman would by far be the best center they've had since they've been relevant. And I think they're looking forward.
Let's keep in mind, though, the center position's going extinct.
Yeah. So, oh no, we'll see. Wiseman also did sit out, so we'll see if that has an impact on him. But all reports says he looks good.
And I don't think you want to take a guy like LaMelo Ball, though, with that kind of lineup.
No.
Too many egos then.
Yeah.
And Steph Curry does not do egos. He doesn't have an ego himself. So
that takes us to the 3rd overall pick. Now the Charlotte Hornets, and rumor has it they're gonna get into contact with Houston because Michael Jordan wants Westbrook. So if that happens, it throws off a lot of things because I think their biggest need right now is a point guard. But if they get Westbrook, that's not a need anymore. But right now, with their roster right now, who are they taking 3rd overall, Brendan?
Yeah, I do think they'll take LaMelo Ball in this one. Coming from Lithuania, I think. He played, I'm looking here, Illawarra. Wasn't even playing college ball. He played at that Spire Institute up here in Cleveland, in Geneva, rather, and then went overseas. The Ball family did this weird thing. I don't know what the heck they were up to. But his talent is there. Good size, great ball handler. Charlotte needs something to give themselves a superstar because they don't really have one right now. Only 19 years old, it would be a good guard for that starting lineup and give the offense some life.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that he's a 6'7" point guard, but I agree. LaMelo Ball goes third overall to Charlotte right now. That's how I'd see it. An elite size for a point guard. He's just impressive creativity, killer instincts, comes up in the big moment all the time. Great passing, great touch, great shot, decent defender as well. I think he adds a lot of skill to that Hornets roster, and I think they're intrigued if they don't get Westbrook. I think LaMelo Ball not only can be their next point guard, but the next franchise player. So that takes trust.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he definitely has the capability to be the face of a franchise.
Yeah.
And if it's anywhere to do that, it's definitely in Charlotte.
Yep. So going to fourth overall now, the Chicago Bulls. Who do you have them taking, Brendan?
Yeah, it should be Denny Avdija, overseas player from that Maccabi Tel Aviv team that we've seen NBA teams play in the preseason before. Be a good guard or forward wherever the Bulls need him. And haven't seen him play a lot, but good size and versatility. He has a good feel for the game, which I think is kind of underrated now in basketball. He's a smart player. They teach basketball really well overseas, and great wingspan as well. So it'll be a nice addition.
Yeah, I think we might agree on a lot of these because, like we said before the start, not a lot of big name players. So it seems like every mock draft is similar. But small forward, it's Chicago's biggest need. I think he's the best available small forward. Big enough to play power forward, but he reminds me a lot of Nikola Jokic in the sense that he's a big man that moves like a point guard. Loves to shoot threes.
Yeah.
Great defensively. Has made a lot of strides on the defensive side of the ball. He covers his ground well. Uses his long arms to get in passing lanes, block shots. Really good in the pick and roll. And I think you put him on that young Chicago team, he might be the piece they're missing. I'm not going to say they're going to be a playoff contender in 1 year. But, with a guy like Markkanen and I can't even think of I can't think of his name, Zach LaVine. With LaVine and Markkanen, I think those three become an up-and-coming big three. You know what I mean? Not quite there yet, but they have all the potential in the world.
And who's the guy that they got from North Carolina last year? Big Afro.
Yeah, why can't I think of his name either? Oh, Kobe White.
Kobe White, yeah.
Yeah.
Another really talented, flashy player.
Like I said, Chicago just a very young team that I think with this piece they would get right over the hump to start towards the upswing of the rebuild.
Right.
So, fifth overall pick now, the Cleveland Cavaliers. What are the hometown team doing here as we're in Northeast Ohio? What's the hometown team doing at fifth?
Yeah, hometown team is going to stay in their home state like they did back in 2003 and take Obi Toppin from Dayton. You take a look at the Cavs roster right now. I guess they're going to keep Kevin Love. I don't know.
They're shopping him,
or not. Yeah, I know they're looking to deal him, but no one really wants him. They'll keep Kevin Love, keep Tristan Thompson. Those are the two leaders. And then you got Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Kevin Porter Jr. Looking to keep Andre Drummond as well. Then Chetty Osman. Well, the one thing that they've been missing since they've lost LeBron James is a guy that can take over a fourth quarter, guy can take over a game, run through the lane, and have explosive plays, explosive dunks. Obi Toppin is that kind of guy. I saw that at Dayton. His dunks were highlight reel dunks. I know Larry Nance Jr. has kind of tried to be that guy for the Cavs, but he's too stiff sometimes. Has a lot of heart, but just isn't explosive and flashy. They need a young guy that can take over a game, because Colin Sexton can't do that right now. That's been proven. He can't take over that fourth quarter like Kyrie Irving was able to. Obi Toppin was a leader at Dayton. He can be a leader with the Cavs. It can be, a franchise player, I think. So, comes from a really good program at Dayton. And I think he is, the main, the marquee name in this draft. So, that's good for the Cavs.
Yeah, I think Dayton, who was having a good season before COVID came around, he was a big part of that. I agree here with Toppin at 5 overall. You look at the Cavs roster, they already have what seems is a solid backcourt in Sexton and Garland. And then pending the status of Kevin Porter Jr. after the news of him getting arrested, he was going to be what seemed like the solidified 3. They have Chetty Osman still. And then the uncertainty in Andre Drummond and Kevin Love, I guess, is why you go big man here if you're the Cavs. And I agree with everything you said. Also great defensively, just has a great basketball mind. He's versatile. Flashy dunks is the big thing off the lob off the pick and roll. I think he'd work really well with the backcourt that Cleveland has. And I think that's why it's a no-brainer to take this guy 5th overall if you're the Cavaliers. So moving on to the 6th pick, the Atlanta Hawks. Seems like for some time now they've been in the top 10, the lottery pick. Brendan, who's going 6th overall to the Hawks?
Yeah, I'll think we'll go with Onyeka Okongwu from USC. I love how there's these players from football schools like Georgia, USC. We'll get into some others here down the road, but Okongwu, if I'm saying it right, I don't think the Hawks are desperate for any position player. He's a tall guy, a forward and a center. He'll mesh well with Clint Capella and John Collins. A very defensive player is what he's known for. Defensive player, can take the lob from an elbow and throw it down. He's probably the best big man in this draft. So I think the Hawks are looking for something like that. But I think they'll go with the USC guy.
Okay. And this is where we differ for the first time. So we want 5 picks unanimous. But I have Isaac Okoro from Auburn going 6th overall to Atlanta. You said Capella and Collins. I think they're already set as far as the big man goes. They need a small forward. That's probably their biggest need in my opinion. And I think Okoro fits the team very well in the sense that he's not going to score a lot of points, but he's good at passing, great at defense, and is an excellent rebounder. And that's the kind of guy you want when you have a guy like Trae Young on your team, a guy that can facilitate it, can rebound the shots that Trae may have missed at any point, and then is a great two-way player, gets down the court, and plays great defense. I think he fits Atlanta's team perfectly to a T because Trae Young is the star on that team, and I think that's why, for me, the Hawks go Isaac Okoro, and if they don't, I believe they should. But I just feel that way because of the way and style that Trae Young plays. So that takes us to the 7th overall pick, the Detroit Pistons. Who's going to the Motor City?
We've got Patrick Williams out of Florida State, forward. You take a look at the Pistons. Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin, Christian Wood, all that they really have right now. Bruce Brown, a shooting guard. They need someone that can take possessions by themselves and score. Patrick Williams can do that. He's been working out for a lot of teams. Every team, I think in the top 10, was looking at him at some point. But he's a playmaker and a shooter. And he can be a consistent threat in a game where they're down by 5 or 6 or 10. And he can, lead comebacks like that. So I'll go with the guy out of Florida State.
And I agree with you here, so we're a little bit back on track now with the 7th pick. I'm going Patrick Williams out of Florida State as well. 6'8", 225, really fits that. That's the size you like to see at the small forward position. A physical guy, 7-foot wingspan, great on defense, a great spot-up shooter from mid-range, and even 3 will be a 3-and-D guy for Detroit as long as I feel like a leader. Shot 84% from the free throw line, so a guy that is going to knock down the easy ones. I just think he's when you're Detroit struggling as much as you are, and you're all the way down at 7. I think he's the best you can get at 7, and I think that's why they go with him. I think he becomes one of their starters or top 5 players instantly. He might not start from the get-go just because he's a rookie, but when you look at the talent level of Detroit, he's definitely. It's not going to take very long for him to get to get the minutes going. You know what I mean? So that takes us to the 8th pick, the New York Knicks. This might be the lowest they've picked in a decade. But Brendan, who's going to the Big Apple?
Yeah, I don't know. The way that they've been playing, they can be much lower at times. But I'll go with Tyrese Halliburton. That's how you properly say that last name. Definitely unselfish player, great shooting range, can knock that corner ball or a mid-range jumper off the elbow, and great defense as well, where the Knicks have lacked defense a long time. I think he's a guard, 20 years old, and can mesh well with R.J. Barrett in that backcourt. Those 2 guys can learn how to play together, along with Kevin Knox and Mitch Robertson, Dennis Smith Jr. Again, a team with a young roster.
Yeah.
So get another young guy here, get all of them learning how to play together. Knicks could be good here in a few years, but I don't know. They've always looked like a mess to me. So.
Yeah, I agree. They go point guard, best available, and that is Tyrese Halliburton. 6'5", can play either the 1 or the 2. So great size, great shot blocker, great at defense as well. Probably has the highest basketball IQ coming into this draft. That's what always has him in the games. That's why Iowa State loved him. Great footwork, great body skills, really has complete control of his body. I think this is a guy that New York wants. Can score, play defense, both sides. 43% career 3-point shooter, 78 from the free throw line. I think he's another 3-and-D guard that New York wants, another 2-way player. And honestly, he'd become your starting point guard fairly quick if you're the Knicks. So we agree once again as Tyrese Halliburton goes 8th overall to the New York Knicks. That takes us to 9th with the Washington Wizards. Who do you have going here?
This is where I have Isaac Okoro going from Auburn. I think he'll be the best available pick for the Wizards here. I think where the Wizards are, they could use any of the guys that we've already talked about, but they'll already be off the board. Wizards, one of the worst defensive teams in the league last year. Okoro brings solid defense to the starting lineup. He can guard whoever, a point guard, a power forward. Definitely has great ball handling skills and offense. I think they'll be something that he can work on in the once he gets to the league. But I think the Wizards need him for the defense right now. You take a look at their roster: John Wall, Bradley Beal, Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown, Jerome Robinson. Just not household names. Really, only John Wall is someone that they have. and you're not going to get a household name in this draft. So get someone that can play defense. Okoro can do that for you.
Yeah, and this is where where we disagreed earlier. This is where I have Onyeka Okongwu from USC, 6'9", 245. He's listed as a center, but I think they might try to use him more as maybe a 4. You'll see him play 4 and 5, I think. A very mobile, big man, great offensive rebounder. I think Washington hurts a little bit when it comes to second chance points, and I think he'll be the guy that can get him over there, just lob catching, shot blocking, rebounding machine for the Wizards. And I have the man from USC going 9th overall, so that takes us to the 10th pick, which will be the final pick we talk about here for our mock draft, the Phoenix Suns. Before today, I was thinking point guard, maybe Killian Hayes, but after Chris Paul's acquisition, Brendan, what is Phoenix going with?
Yeah, I'll change my pick because of that too. I'll go forward and say Sadiq Bey from Villanova, first basketball school. Talking about Dayton, but yeah, out of Villanova, definitely one of the best shooters in the draft. As a forward too, so that shows that he can play multiple positions. Great versatility, great length, good wingspan as well, good size, great passer as well. Coming from a good program from Villanova, they develop them well to be team players and not just play to get to the league. But obviously has the capability to be a good team player. That's what the Suns need, and that's what they'll get from Sadiq Bey.
Yeah, and I obviously they got to go forward. You don't need a guard in this situation. Then you already have Ayton and Bridges as your big men. So I agree Sadiq Bey would be the best available guy that you could put at that 3 position. 6'8", 216 again, about the size, height you want at the 3. Great shooter, really great defensively. He's the kind of guy that can defend multiple positions if you need him to do. He can defend the 3, he can defend the 2, he can defend the 4. And I also think he's going to be a contributor straight out of the draft. I think he's the kind of guy that makes an impact from day one, especially when you look at that Suns lineup. You lose Oubre. You might expect that out of Sadiq Bey. So overall, we had a lot of agreeing picks. I think we were just off on 2, and they were flip-flopped. But other than that, it's going to be a pretty a draft that I don't think there will be a lot of surprises like we've seen in the past. But who knows? It's the NBA draft, so I guess you never know. We could see LaMelo go 1 overall, and you'll wonder why because they have Russell. But there's still a lot of trades to happen. This might not even be the draft order. We'll just find out Wednesday. But other than that, that is it for the NBA, and that now takes us to the PGA Tour as the Masters. What a weekend for Dustin Johnson, Brendan. Shoots 20 under to win the Masters. That's the lowest score in a major championship, beating 18 under, which was held by Tiger Woods. And who's the other guy that had 18 under? There's somebody else.
Let me look at the leaderboard here.
I can't think of it. It's slipping my mind.
Wait, you're saying that 2 guys were 18 under?
No, 2 guys have won a major championship with 18 under. It was Tiger Woods, and I can't think of the other one. But
Jack Nicklaus?
No, it's a newer guy. But that's besides the point. Dustin Johnson.
Koramora?
No. Dustin Johnson sets a new record. It's all his. It's his second major championship. He won the U.S. Open back in 2016. Tiger Woods had a great first 3 days, shoots 4 over on the final round and finishes 1 under, tied for 38th. What are your overall thoughts on the 84th Masters tournament and on Dustin Johnson's performance?
Well, first off, having it be played in November took all the pageantry and interest out of it, I think, that normally sports fans put into the tournament when it's in April. So that was kind of a bummer. But Johnson just tore up the course. It's supposed to be the hardest course in all of golf. He did not make it look like that at all. I don't know what it was. His brother is the caddy, which is a cool story to go along with it. But from first round to the final round, no one was touching him. Normally, in the Masters, you have a guy creeping up on you from behind on that leaderboard, usually playing the 16th or 17th hole. But he didn't have that. No one was chasing him. No one was contending him. He had the Shambo and Woods completely fall apart. And even if you take a look at the leaderboard, Justin Thomas was really the only favorite behind him, and he was at -12. I don't even know who Smith and him are that finished tied for second. So definitely, overall, he was the clear favorite going in, and made it look easy. His best round of golf that he's ever played. Is this the start of a grand slam for him if he can keep winning these tournaments? I don't know. Maybe he just had a fluke this weekend, but definitely the easiest Masters one ever.
Yeah, Dustin Johnson's been ranked number 1 in the world for quite some time now, the 4th longest standing at number 1. But he's there because it seems like he always finishes top 10, not because he wins them all. But he has won his fair share. This is only his second major, like I said, so he needs to. He still needs the 2 others to get that Grand Slam, which isn't impossible. He's only 36. I thought of it too. Dustin Johnson set the record for Masters at -20. Tiger Woods was the other one, and Jordan Spieth, 2015, when he bogeyed, he was 20 under and he bogeyed or double bogeyed the last hole and still won. But it was fun to watch. A little upsetting at the beginning there. I thought it was going to get postponed or delayed. It was delayed. Thought it was going to get postponed round 1. They're going to have to push it back. But they ended up playing. Threw things off schedule, but all in all.
Yeah, they finished the second round on Saturday morning.
Yeah, all in all, it was, as always, a fun tournament to watch. Can't wait till April when the 85th one happens. It's going to be in the same season for the Masters. But Tiger Woods played well. That's always nice to see. You named a couple guys that didn't play well. DeChambeau, he came out and said just made too many mistakes. Fowler was a little here and there. He finished a couple under. A lot of guys finished under par.
His worst hole. You see that where it says had his worst hole?
Shot at 10
on number 12.
Yeah,
but then he showed his poise and I think birdied the next few.
Yeah.
Had a really nice finish to this round.
Which is a shame because if he doesn't have that one hole, he finishes, probably top 5. But it was really fun Masters to watch. Always good to see the older guys do well. And congratulations to Dustin Johnson, one of the most spectacular golfing performances we've seen and probably will ever see, to shoot 20 under on a course like that in the conditions that they were in. Just shows that he was on his game for 4 days, and when he's on his game, he's the best. So that will be it. That's all we ever really talk about golf. They only play one tournament at a time, so you can't really dive deep. You don't see very many scandals or anything going on in the sport of golf. So
it's the Travelers Championship. Yeah.
But that will take us to college football now, where it was a pretty bland weekend, which we'll get into why, but start with a few game recaps here. The Irish, the number 2, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the only top 5 team to play this past weekend. They avoided the trap game as they defeat Boston College 45-31. That score seems closer than it was. Boston College was in that game for about the first 8 minutes, and then it seemed like the Irish just took off. Ian Book looks like he's heating up, Brendan. Goes 20 of 27 for 283 and 3 touchdowns, while adding 85 and a touchdown on the ground. What are your overall thoughts on the 8-0 Fighting Irish? Is Book heating up at the right time? Is this team becoming a serious contender in your eyes? Or is it just ACC?
No, it's definitely not ACC. ACC gets, solid football players, unlike the Pac-12 and Big 12 sometimes. Boston College, solid roster. Give them a lot of credit. They stood in that game, fought for 4 quarters. But Ian Book, he refuses to get sacked. There were some times in that game where Boston College's linebackers were swarming him and breaking through that really good O-line and could have wrapped Book up. But he continued plays, still was able to find his receivers. Couple huge throws to Ben Skowronek in the corners of the end zone, which showed how Ben Skowronek, versatile player he is, he can run multiple different kind of routes and still make plays. The defense worries me sometimes with this Notre Dame team. At the beginning of the year, we were talking about how good of a defense they were, but I think you can talk about college football defense another time, how it's kind of dissipating throughout all of college football.
Yeah.
But, Kyron Williams, Cabot Flemesser, I think is how you say it, Chris Tyree, all huge playmakers for this offense. They're definitely hitting up at the right time. 45 points. That's more than what Clemson put over Boston College. So another solid game. They talk about 1993, that whole story at Boston College.
You good?
Another ad. Yeah. No, talking about how they could have had a letdown week after upsetting number 1 Clemson. Didn't happen, and that's good coaching from Brian Kelly and good leadership from Ian Book. So definitely heating up at the right time.
Yeah, and I agree. The Irish heating up at the right time. Skowronek, all 3 passing touchdowns from Book are to him. He's really coming into form as one of, if not the best receiver on that team right now. Book playing really well, great passes. Skowronek's 1 catch where he pinned it to the back of the defender. I mean, you don't see a lot of men make those catches. So just a great job by the offense. As for the defense, I think it's the front 7 that's playing well. The secondary is kind of letting up a bit. Seems like Kyle Hamilton's the only one that's giving it all on his every play. The safety, true sophomore, a lot of talent at that position. But it's definitely going to hurt them down the road as they get into the bigger games like the ACC championship with Lawrence and Clemson, if that holds. And if they do make the playoffs, your defense is going to have to play well against a team like Bama or Ohio State, or you're going to get smoked. So thoughts so far, very good team. I think they can contend, but there's still some room for improvement. And Brian Kelly knows that. Brian Kelly, a longtime coach in NCAA football, a longtime coach of the Irish, the guy that was brought in after Charlie Weiss, expected to turn this program back to what they were back in the 70s and 80s, and even before that. And I think he's done a good job thus far at getting them back to relevancy. Now it's getting them over the hump on, can they win a playoff game? Can they win a championship? And I think this year so far is their best shot at doing so. Already took down number 1 once. We'll probably have to play Clemson again. So moving on, Indiana, really good state right now, as number 10 Indiana improves to 4-0 after shutting out Michigan State 24-0. That means these 2 Indiana schools are combined 12-0. Ty Freifogel reels in 11 receptions for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns in the win. One of the best performances at the receiver position this past weekend. Brendan, is Indiana more legit than we think? Or is it just the fact that, yeah, they're 4-0, but who have they played?
Yeah, well, Purdue could have been in that same conversation before they lost to Northwestern too this past weekend.
Well, Northwestern's from Indiana, so. Oh, wait, Northwestern's Illinois, aren't they?
Illinois, near Chicago, yeah. But Indiana, man, I don't know. 4-0, they're winning games that they have to. Give them credit there. Shut out Michigan State. Okay, your defense is good. And really took it to Michigan when they play them as well. Penix Jr., is that how you say it? Penix or Penny? I don't know. 25 for 38, 320 yards passing. Solid, but again, Michigan State, their defense, not the best. Have good running backs and Scott and James. But, this upcoming game against Ohio State, it's going to be the telling tale of what kind of Hoosiers team that we're really looking at right now. It's like, where did this come from? Like, how did Indiana all of a sudden go to 4-0?
Yeah.
It's always been the team that plays Ohio State first couple weeks and gets blown out of the water. Why are you guys 4-0 all of a sudden? So
they were expected to lose week 1 to Penn State.
And then, well, they should have, first off.
Yeah.
But, Penn State, they're a different story. They lost a lot of guys that opted out. They have talent at Penn State. They just don't have their guys playing right now.
And then devastating news with Journey Brown.
Right. He's retired. So, I don't know, this upcoming game, if you really want to be in, a Big Ten championship college football playoff conversation, show up this week and beat Ohio State.
Yep.
But I don't know if you're going to be able to do that.
When I look at is Indiana more legit than we think, and I look at this upcoming game, this game is going to tell us one of two things. If Indiana wins, it's going to tell us, or Indiana's close, it's going to tell us Indiana's legit. If it's not even close, it's going to tell us how far ahead Ohio State is from the rest of the Big Ten. Because right now, I think Indiana's the second best team in the Big Ten. So.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, I mean, they beat Michigan, they beat Michigan State, they beat Penn State.
What about Wisconsin?
I mean, on this side I'm talking about, on this side, like who can represent this side of the Big Ten as far as of the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
I mean, when it goes to that side, you can start arguing that Northwestern may be better. At that same time, it's tough. I think Indiana and Northwestern are the same kind of team. Like, why are they 4-0?
Right. Yeah.
Which, it's funny that we say that because Indiana plays Ohio State, Northwestern plays Wisconsin. So it's going to be the battle of who I think are the top two teams on each side of the Big Ten right now.
Those are the semifinals right there, yeah.
Yeah, so this is literally, whoever wins these games plays into the Big Ten championship. Although Wisconsin and Ohio State with the canceled games, they're getting close to ineligibility.
Well, Wisconsin is one canceled game away from being ineligible. Ohio State, this is their first one.
They're 2 away. It takes 3
canceled.
canceled.
I'm saying,
yeah.
They've only had one cancellation so far. So
true, but if they lose to Indiana would be 2 games ahead technically because Indiana hasn't had a canceled game. So it's weird to think about that way. When you start this late, those games, you got to keep your teams healthy. For Ohio State, it's unfortunate because it was Maryland that brought the cases. But Wisconsin, they shot themselves in the foot with that 2-week shutdown. But speaking of Wisconsin, the number 13 Badgers, at the time, they moved up after this huge win as they look fresh after the 2 canceled games. They slaughtered Michigan 49-11. And we're not even going to talk about Wisconsin because we know they're a good team. We know what they have. We're going to talk about Michigan, okay? How hot is the seat that Harbaugh is sitting on right now, Brendan?
He's sitting on Satan's chair in hell right now. That's how hot it is. I'm seeing all these reports is like he's gonna stay next year. Michigan really loves him, which I get the reasons for. He keeps his players eligible. Is the AD and president like him? Great, but he's not winning games. How do you get blown out 49-11 to Wisconsin? Wisconsin is the measuring stick for where Michigan should be right now, and they're not even past a ruler. They're 3 measuring yardsticks away from Wisconsin. I don't know why people are trying to defend Harbaugh. Like, no one on that Michigan team, 2 interceptions on the first 2 possessions, and Wisconsin cashed in on both.
Yeah.
Like, how do you start a game like that?
For a guy they call the quarterback whisperer, he has not found one yet at Michigan that is worth starting.
It looks like no one cares on that field to be playing for Michigan right now.
No, and it's tough because I don't think Harbaugh's a bad coach. I think it's getting to the point where they just need to mutually part ways.
Yeah, I don't think he's really connecting with his players at all.
I think he should go back to the NFL.
There's kind of been reports. Yeah, I mean, he's a man's coach. He knows how to deal with professional players, not kids who are not even all going to play in the NFL or worrying about college right now.
A lot of them won't play in the NFL when they play like that.
No, not playing like this. No,
But
I don't get it. Like Harbaugh, you're losing to Indiana, Michigan State. I don't get it.
yeah, it's tough.
He's not. Who do they play this coming week? Who do they play? I can't even look because you don't even have. They're not ranked, so I can't look at your schedule.
yeah. We only mark what the top 25 matchups that are going on. This weekend they have Rutgers. That's a game.
Man, if they lose to Rutgers,
you need to win. If you're Harbaugh, you need to win.
It's at Rutgers too.
Yeah, upset special. But
seriously, it's laughable. I don't like it. I don't like it because I don't think Ohio State fans should like it. Kirk Herbstreit, Ohio State guy, played for the Buckeyes. He said, I don't like Michigan being this bad. Ohio fans might love it, but why should you love it? Because it doesn't make the game competitive.
No.
Like, you're going to beat Michigan 72-10. How is that fun?
Not at all.
Like, rivalries are supposed to be close games, and this game this year just going to be a mass murder.
It's going to be bad. So, yeah, I agree. Harbaugh's seat is hot. So, moving on, number 1 Alabama, number 3 Ohio State, and number 5 Texas A&M, and number 12 Georgia all have games canceled or postponed due to COVID-19 this past weekend. Brendan, are you scared at all for the future of the season with the recent spikes, or what are your thoughts on what's going on right now as far as cancellations and postponements?
Yeah, well, the SEC had a lot, but from what I read and heard, it's mostly contact tracing. So it's not like everyone was positive. So that's good at least, but I do think they're just going to try and push through still.
Okay.
You have a lot of weeks in there. I don't know what the bowl schedule is going to look like. I think you might have to cancel a lot of bowl games in order to get games rescheduled and push some games further into December.
Well, that's why they're talking about eligibility for like Wisconsin and Ohio State. They're not pushing the regular season back. They say it's on the Big Ten and it's on the Pac-12 for starting late. If you have 3 games canceled because you started 7 weeks late, that's on you. And it's really tough to see because if a team like Ohio State gets 2 more cancellations but goes 5-0, they wouldn't be bowl eligible because it's 6 wins to get you that bowl eligibility. But it's their fault. Well, not their fault, but the Big Ten's fault that they wouldn't be represented in the college football playoffs at that point.
Wow, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know if I would. That just kind of sucks. Like.
Yeah, because then you start thinking like
that's fair.
Yeah, you start thinking like, oh, your playoff's gonna be.
You follow the rules. Your team stays healthy, but because Maryland screws you up and has your game canceled because of them, they didn't follow protocols. Like, you get punished for it. I don't know that. I think we'll get through the season. We're closer to championship weekend here. About a month away, I think. I don't know. Alabama, they've had a couple games canceled, right?
Yeah.
Or is this their first one this past weekend?
This is their first, but they started on time, so it doesn't impact them as much. Like, they're already bowl eligible.
LSU's, yeah, they're bowl eligible. But LSU's not doing so hot down there.
And there's a lot going on other than football-related topics, too, that we're not going to jump into. LSU's the dumpster fire if I've ever seen one. Goes from the best to the biggest mess within an off season.
I don't know.
Nonetheless, I'm agreeing with you. I think they're just going to try to chug through. It is a little scary for those teams that started late. If you're Oregon or Ohio State or even Indiana right now or Wisconsin, you're scared that your season might end because of it.
Yeah.
So that will take us to the top 25. Not a lot of changes to it because a lot of teams didn't play. But Brendan, who is your top 4 for the college football playoffs right now, and who are your first 2 out right now?
Yeah, so I'll go number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Notre Dame. Number 3, Ohio State. And then I will throw in Clemson at number 4. I think ACC gets 2 teams this year, Notre Dame and Clemson. But then first 2 out, I will go with Texas A&M and Oregon. I think Oregon's going to keep winning and go undefeated, and it gets some consideration to be a Pac-12 representative, but I think they get left out at the end there. I do think that they ultimately jump Cincinnati and Florida. Florida, I think they play Alabama. I think they'll play in the SEC championship game and then lose to Alabama, which puts them back further. So, yeah.
Yeah, so for me right now, I have 1 Notre Dame. I just think they're 2 wins better than Bama. They played number 1 in the country and took them down. They played really well against Boston College. I think they're the number 1 team in the country right now. I think Bama's 2, Ohio State 3, 4 Clemson, and then you'd see obviously a rematch there, but that's going to happen anyways in the ACC championship. But that's the top 4 right now if things were to end right now. And then the first 2 out, I have Texas A&M and Florida, just like the AP poll, but in the sense that Kyle Trask is the best quarterback in football right now over these past 2 weeks. And then Texas A&M beat Florida. They have the same record, but that's why they'd be my first 2 out. I don't think BYU and Cincinnati are that far behind, but I think you have 2 powerhouse SEC schools, and you have to put them in above the group of 5 schools there. So now we look at Week 12, Brendan. There's some intriguing matchups. What's your game of the week and upset specials?
Yeah, definitely game of the week is Ohio State against Indiana in the Horseshoe. Number 3 taking on number 9. It's going to be the defining game for both teams this year. Not just Indiana to be able to show that they can stay with the powerhouses, but Ohio State to show that all these blowouts aren't for nothing. So that's my game of the week. Notre Dame obviously has a bye, but upset special of the week. Interesting game to look at. Appalachian State at number 15, Coastal Carolina.
I was thinking the same thing.
App State has been known for upsets in the past, and I don't know how much Coastal Carolina can continue this wave that they're on, and all the hype that has been surrounding the Chanticleers at 7-0. App State is 6-1, so they can't be pushed around either. I think the Mountaineers come away with the upset there, and we have our first group of 5 team to lose.
So I think I agree. Game of the week is Indiana, Ohio State, 2 undefeated. You're gauging the Big Ten right there. I think it's going to be a better game than people think. I hope it's going to be a better game than people think. I hope it's a game of the week atmosphere. But I agree with Appalachian State and Coastal Carolina, upset special. I think Liberty's runs over too as they go on the road against NC State. I don't think they beat NC State. But I would say my upset special, I want to throw a top 10 team in there. Number 7, Cincinnati. They better watch out. They're on the road against Central Florida, 5-2 Central Florida team. That I think this could be the trap game. Cincinnati needs to watch over. If they get over this one, they might be on the road to an undefeated season. But this is the one. This is the game where Cincinnati can trip up. So watch out for an upset alert on that game.
Yeah, BYU should be safe. They're playing 0-3 North Alabama. So I think the Cougars should win that one.
I'm pretty sure North Alabama's FCS. They just are 0-3 against FBS schools. So that's why they have that 0-3 record. But that will take us to our final topic, which is the NFL. And Brendan, kind of a bland week. Not a lot happening. Playoff picture doesn't shift too much. A little bit. One team falls out of the AFC. Some Week 11 matchups we'll look at. The Week 11 looks like a fun slate, but we'll jump right into it. The Cleveland Browns, they improved to 6-3 with a 10-7 victory over the Texans in very, very high wins. A lot of bettors are upset with Nick Chubb right now as he runs out of bounds at the 1 yard line, with the betting line being minus 4.5 in favor of Cleveland. They win by 3. Brendan, do you like the decision that Chubb made, or do you take the extra points?
No, I don't care about Vegas or people at the Jack Casino, whatever. Those old guys in their 60s and 70s trying to make money and bet. But, it's a professional league, the NFL, a lot of egos, where you would love to have that, game-clinching touchdown run like Nick Chubb could have had there. He doesn't have an ego at all. Puts himself aside, puts the team before him. Doesn't, want to give Houston a chance to have the ball back. I don't even think that they would have had a shot, but you never know with Deshaun Watson. But, would have continued the game on for another 5-7 minutes, get out of bounds, take the knee, get out of there with the win. Heck of a guy. I mean, he's the nicest guy probably in that locker room. The smartest football mind I've seen in a long time. And, to come off 5-6 weeks of not playing football either, he would have, had so much adrenaline in him that's your touchdown run that gets you back in some momentum. But no, he, take the knee, get out of there with the win. I love that decision because you don't see that very often in the NFL.
No.
So I love the decision.
And it makes you wonder. I agree with the decision. I think Chubb did a great job. You don't want to risk it like the Todd Gurley did a few weeks ago with Atlanta and ended up losing them the game. But I like it. It's a team play. Myles Garrett was like, hey, kudos to Nick Chubb. What a team player. I would have taken the 6. But it was awesome. Now, it makes you wonder, though, Brendan, do the coaches or players have any idea what the betting lines are? Like, if they knew it was 4.5, that's fancy. Like, hey, let's get some of these guys that bet in the Browns' favor some money. Time out at 3 seconds just to kick a field goal, make it 13-7, and cover the line. Or do you think they're just like completely oblivious to it? They don't care.
I mean, they might. If you ask them in an interview, they'll say that they pay attention to that kind of stuff. We don't have that. We don't look on our apps or anything. But they're human. They might know that stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't factor into decisions in the game. So I don't know. Probably not.
So, unfortunate for the bettors, but good for Cleveland. 6-3 after 9 games. Go Brownies. Apparently America's team, a lot of people saying on Twitter. Now, when I think of America's team, this team we're about to talk about next, they're really becoming a really fun team to watch. Every game they're in is intriguing, captivates all the audiences. The Arizona Cardinals, they take down the Buffalo Bills 32-30 after a Hail Mary with seconds remaining. DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, if that doesn't tell you he's the best in the game right now, I don't know what does. I mean, there's 8 hands going after that ball, and his 2 with 1 that came down with it. But the Cardinals had an 8% chance of winning that game, Brendan, before that play. Won up 99% after the catch was made. Thoughts on this game, and are the Cardinals the best team in the NFC West? Overall team?
Well, it was the best game of the weekend, for sure, because you have a really good Buffalo Bills team competing in that AFC East division and leading that division. But heck of a catch by DeAndre Hopkins. Like you said, 3 guys surrounding him, and he able to jump the highest and get his hands above everyone else's to bring that ball down. And Kyler Murray, just to stay composed, the game that he had, quickest feet in all of football, easily.
For sure.
Plays that he makes with his legs, that touchdown run that he had. But are they the best team in the NFC West? That is a question. Because you got 6-3 teams: Cardinals, Rams, and Seahawks. All NFC Championship contending teams. I think Russell Wilson is the only reason that the Seahawks are 6-3 right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think the Cardinals are a more talented all around team, and the Rams I think still need to prove themselves. So I think the Cardinals are the best are the best team right now in the NFC West, but it's close, just by a hair.
Yeah, and this Sunday is going to be a big factor on who's the best in the NFC West. Cardinals are in first place right now due to tiebreakers, but we'll get into next week's slate, and we'll see why next week has such a huge impact on that division. But I agree, right now the Cardinals are the best overall team when you think about all-around offense, defense, special teams. But this game, like you said, by far the game of the week. Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, two young quarterbacks, dueling it out, back and forth affair, a shootout mentality, and dominated by the pass game and Kyler's feet, and Josh Allen also a mobile quarterback. Run game's not there. It was basically pass and quarterback runs. So a really fun game to watch. Two similar teams, I think. And, that would probably be a really fun Super Bowl to watch. I'm not saying it's going to happen because you have teams like the Chiefs ahead of the Bills, the Steelers, and when it comes to the NFC, you have Packers, Saints, which we'll get into the Saints. Their season might be in jeopardy. But that would be a fun game to watch on a big stage. So Miami Dolphins, Brenton. Whew. Would you have guessed they're 6-3? They stay hot. They take down the Chargers 29-21. Tua Tagovailoa is now 3-0 as a starting quarterback as the Dolphins, again, improved to 6-3. Are they a serious playoff contender, or is this just a hot streak?
I don't know. Definitely a serious contender, but you're contending with a lot of different teams right now. Second in the AFC East, you're among multiple 6-3 teams. Browns, Ravens, Raiders, Colts, and Titans. Can this continue? Tagovailoa, rookie, 3-0, great. But can you go and beat New England and Buffalo? Those are the teams that are going to be the measuring stick for this ball club. They're definitely a contender right now, but can they continue the hot streak? I don't know. I don't think so. Tagovailoa is still a lot of learning curves that he has to go through. So I don't see him making the playoffs, but it's good to see that Tua is starting his career in a hot streak.
Well, Brendan, it's looking good for the Dolphins. Let's just say that. They're 6-3. Here's how the rest of their season plays out. They have Denver.
It is looking good.
They have Denver, winnable. So say 7-3.
Yeah.
New York, 8-3. Cincinnati, they could be 9-3. Right. I don't think they beat Kansas City, so we'll say
Cincinnati's tough.
Yeah, but at home, I think they'll be on that hot streak. I say they get to 9-3. I think they'll lose to Kansas City 9-4. I think they'll fall to New England. I think that's just a game they lose. So 9-5. Then that's where it gets tough. You have the Raiders and the Bills. I think they could split that, and they're 10-6. But I think they could also lose both, and they're 9-7. And like you said, they could lose the Bengals game and go 8-8. But there's definitely a schedule there for them to make the playoffs, which is crazy to think about.
I guess, but are you going to be, tied for?
Oh, it's going to be
the 8th spot.
Or? I mean, look at that AFC. It's going to be fun when it comes down to Week 17. The implications that are going to be. I mean, if everything holds as is over the next 7 weeks or 6 weeks, that Week 17 is going to have a lot of implications for a lot of different teams. Moving on, the New England Patriots stay in the hunt. Like I said, when I say stay in the hunt, they're within 2 games of a playoff spot. This was a big win for the Patriots as they take down the Baltimore Ravens in severe rain, 23-17. Rex Burkhead scores 2 touchdowns while Damian Harris rushes for 121 yards. We see that typical Bill Belichick run all the running backs you have. Brendan, this leads to this question. Yes, they're 6-3, but they have not looked like the same team. Were the Ravens overhyped after a great 2019 season?
Real quick, look at your phone. Yeah, I don't know if they're overhyped, but I think they are kind of. How do I say this? I think they're definitely underperforming. Yeah, sure, the weather wasn't great last night, but I think Lamar Jackson is really, and the offense is really being exposed right now. Everyone knows what kind of offense that they have, so they're scheming for it. They're run first. If you force Jackson out of the pocket, then he'll be able to run. So they're going to scheme for that. So I'm not saying that they're overhyped. They still have the chance to get to the AFC Championship, but teams are just making it harder for themselves now. It's not, going to be super easy for this Baltimore team anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's coming off like kind of a honeymoon season. You went 14-2. Yeah, you have an early exit in the playoffs, but on paper you were listed as the best team coming into the season. Now you have the Steelers, who are 3 games ahead of you, and you're currently holding on by a hair to that last playoff spot. The way they're playing, I could see them missing the postseason, Brendan.
Well, yeah, at this point, because there's like 5, 6, and 3 teams in the AFC. So if Cleveland is able to beat them down the road here, I'm just looking at their schedule the rest of the way. They have Tennessee next week, not an easy game. They have Pittsburgh again, not an easy game.
That's 6-6 right there if they were to lose all 3 of those.
Yeah, they're definitely. I don't know if they'll lose all 3, but
I said if they lose all 3.
They'd have to be 6-6 by losing to Dallas, and I don't think they'll lose to Dallas. So I don't know. There's definitely wins on their schedule the rest of the way. The last 3 weeks should be wins for Baltimore. Yeah. Jaguars, Giants, and Bengals. So, but they're definitely not making it easy on themselves. Let's say that.
Not at all. But we'll see, and that spurs this question now. Lamar Jackson was talking about being one or 2 last year. Him and Mahomes were that discussion. Where do you have him ranked right now after this season, this lackluster season? Is he falling on that list?
I don't know if he's falling. I still think he's the second best young quarterback in the AFC. Joe Burrow might
put a definement to that. You put a definement to that. Second best young in the AFC. Not even the second best young in the NFL, not even the second best in the NFL. Second best young in the AFC. So that means he's lowering on your list, Brendan. He is. I think he had too much respect to be put over Russell Wilson.
He can't win the big games. He can't.
And I think it was disrespectful to put him up over Russell in the beginning. I think Josh Allen's been better than him this year. I think Kyler Murray's a better quarterback this year. There's more that I'm missing. I don't even know if he's in my top 5 right now. He's a top 10 quarterback, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he's in my top 5 right now.
What about
Aaron Rodgers having a great season as well. I'd put Aaron above him.
What about Josh Allen? Is Josh Allen better than Lamar right now?
I would say Josh Allen is better right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Josh Allen has his team in
just because he's winning. Yeah.
Josh Allen has his team in first place and puts his team in the position to win every game. They could have beaten Arizona.
Well, yeah, they should have beat Arizona. That loss really isn't Josh Allen's fault.
Exactly. So you could say they're 8-2.
At the end of the game there?
Yeah.
Spot on. Perfect throw.
So, right now, yeah, Lamar's low in not low, I shouldn't say low, lower than most people would have him. But we'll talk about some breaking news. So Brendan told me to check my phone. Antonio Brown allegedly wrecked camera and threw a bicycle at a security guard before he signed with Tampa Bay. He wasn't charged because he signed with Tampa Bay, and the people of Florida loved him. So that's crazy news. Antonio Brown just doesn't change, I guess. But something we're going to talk about, Drew Brees. His scans come back. He's broken multiple ribs, has a collapsed lung. The timetable is unclear. Can the Saints contend with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, or is this a slow terminal illness to their season now?
Yeah, definitely not great for New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
He'll be able to still be on the sideline and in the locker room. I mean, he's your leader. He's the guy that yells in the huddle. So you'll still be able to have him around the team. But when he's not on the field, that is where this loss is going to loom large. Jameis Winston, he's now supposed to be your hero quarterback to save the season.
And he's the Teddy Bridgewater of this season.
I don't think. No, definitely not. Not even close to Teddy Bridgewater.
He just wears glasses. Remember, he blamed all those interceptions on his eyesight. If he goes out there with some goggles on.
You see Jameis Winston's warm-up yesterday?
No. Is it bad?
Look it up. It was pretty close. It was just as bad as Dak Prescott's.
Oh, man.
But can we contend with Winston and Hill? Yeah, they'll still be able to contend. I mean, they're kind of lucky that this is happening right now at the end of the season, where they're already in a position to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They just have to win a few more games, but it definitely doesn't help for the playoffs.
Yeah, it doesn't help for the playoffs, but like I said, there's no timetable. You hope it's sooner rather than later. Maybe they can have them back for the postseason. You don't know. But, yeah, sitting at 7-2, they are sitting pretty. If their backup quarterbacks can even go 3-4, they still probably get a wild card in the NFC at 10-6. So you're just hoping. You're not even asking your backup quarterback to go over 500. Yeah. You're just asking to get a couple more wins. It's very unfortunate. A guy that has done the right thing throughout his career over and over again. Just a great guy, great quarterback, and you hate to see it happen to him. You hope nothing but the best.
Yeah, you really hope this isn't like a career-ending thing.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I mean, we saw.
Which it definitely could be.
We saw with collapsed lung with Tyrod Taylor. He came back from it, but he's also a little bit younger. You just hope it's not too severe. So now the playoff picture shifts a little bit. As far as the AFC goes, Pittsburgh stays at the top. Kansas City still 2. 3 is Buffalo. Colts move into that 4 spot as they beat Tennessee and take over the top spot in the AFC South. Vegas has the 5th spot. Miami 6. Baltimore drops to 7 as they drop from the 5 spot with Vegas and Miami moving up. Cleveland stays the top team in the hunt. Tennessee also 6-3 right outside. And then New England 4-5. They're the 3rd team in the hunt. And this is in tiebreaker order. So Cleveland has a tiebreaker over Tennessee right now. They'd be the next team in if one of these teams loses, and Cleveland is to win next weekend. As far as the NFC goes, Green Bay stays at the top at 7-2. New Orleans 7-2 also stays put. Arizona moves up to the 3 spot at 6-3 as they take over the top of the NFC West. Eagles fall to 3-5-1, but still remain in 4th with that pitiful division in the NFC East. Tampa Bay stays at 5 at 7-3. The Rams and Seahawks are 6-7 at 6-3 as the Rams take down the Seahawks. They'll have the tiebreaker there. So the Seahawks drop from 3 to 7. The teams in the hunt stay the same. Chicago's 5-4. Detroit's 4-5. Chicago plays tonight, so that record will change. But Detroit, huge win over Washington to keep them in the hunt. Brendan, are there any surprises as we are 10 weeks through with the playoff picture right now? Or, I mean, still, like, obviously, we talked about last week, Miami's a little bit of a surprise. Is there any surprises as far as, like, who's the division leader or somewhere that's lower on the list than you expected?
I mean, I think we'd agree that the fact that New England is 4-5 and considered to be in the hunt is kind of surprising. If you would have told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have been like, I don't think they'd be that bad. But the win last night is, helps them, but they got a long road to go. But I just think, let's look at where everything is at right now. 6-3 teams in the AFC. Those last 5 spots can change within, the next 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. The AFC is really interesting to watch right now. Where is Baltimore going to finish? Are they going to be able to win out, put themselves in the same category as Buffalo? What's Las Vegas and Cleveland going to be like? Are they going to have a tiebreaker at the end? Which is where that loss for Cleveland to Las Vegas looms large and hurts the Browns. You know, these teams play each other at the end of the season. If everything stays the same, Cleveland and Tennessee, they're going to play each other in a few weeks, and that's going to be a deciding game. So definitely a fun end of the season to watch here for the AFC. I think the NFC is kind of spread out already. I don't think that changes really, but AFC is fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised with anything at this point. I just think it's so surprising how things can shift based on one result in the AFC. It's so close.
Yeah.
But it makes for fun Sundays.
Baltimore and Cleveland now, play each other in a few weeks. That game is going to be. Cleveland is.
Pittsburgh still has Baltimore and Cleveland.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Indianapolis, I believe, have a second game. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Indianapolis, yeah.
But NFC, I think, will kind of stick with the teams that they have. I don't see that changing much.
Buffalo, Miami play each other.
Yeah. I don't see the NFC changing as far as teams go. I think Chicago and Detroit are going to keep looking in from the outside the rest of the season, and then Philadelphia is just going to get that lucky berth because of the rule. But I think those 7 teams I could see being the 7 that make the postseason. For the AFC, I can't say that.
So. No, I don't think so. AFC, I don't know, man.
So, look now at Week 11. There's some really good matchups coming up this weekend. What are some of your favorites, Brendan?
Yeah, well, 2 teams that we've been talking about, Tennessee and Baltimore, play this upcoming weekend. Lamar Jackson needs a bounce-back game. Tennessee needs a win to keep their season alive and keep themselves in the hunt. Take a look, Cardinals and Seahawks again. Divisional matchup there. Thursday night. Battle for the top spot in that division. Packers Colts should be a good one, but I really don't see Colts defense holding Aaron Rodgers to nothing. Raiders and Chiefs might be a good one. I think the Browns should be able to handle Philadelphia, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed with that one. Cincinnati and Washington, 2 win teams.
Yeah.
Why not have it? Watch that one. Yeah, like I said, a lot of good matchups this upcoming weekend. Rams, Buccaneers.
I think this is the first weekend where all 3 primetime games are good. Cardinals, Seahawks Thursday night. I think that's a huge game. It's in Seattle. Cardinals have the tiebreaker right now for the first spot in that West Division. Then Sunday night, Chiefs, Raiders, a fun AFC West battle. Raiders playing better than anticipated. The Chiefs, though, don't want to lose twice to the Raiders just in case the tiebreaker scenario comes up. And then Rams, Buccaneers, both in the wild card hunt right now, or both in the wild card right now. Just trying to solidify their seeding, I guess, at this point. Buccaneers still in the hunt. But both teams still in the hunt for the division victory as the Rams are tied with the Seahawks and Cardinals, and the Buccaneers just half a game behind the Saints on Monday night. So 3 great primetime games that I'm very excited to watch. And then as well mixed in there, like you said, Ravens, Titans should be a good one. Packers, Colts. But I think this is going to be a really fun weekend as far as football goes.
Chargers, Jets. Do the Jets get their first wins?
Go Herbert. Keep them down. Next week, the 0-16 hunt, the 0-16 countdown will start. They're 0-10. You got 6 games to go. So we'll see if they beat the Chargers. There's no countdown, but that will take us to the final segment, which, as always, is last call. And with the weather getting a bit chillier this weekend, Brendan, we're going to go over a couple fall things. What's your ideal drink when it's cold out? Warm tea or hot cocoa? Or is there something else? Are you cold drink on a cold day kind of guy? Or you getting hot cocoa with marshmallows? What are you doing?
No, definitely a hot cocoa guy.
Okay.
Warm tea is just disgusting for me.
Oh.
The Starbucks lineup that they came up with for the holidays this year, man, they got some winners on that lineup. Go out and try the toasted white chocolate that they have. Extremely good. Plus, when it gets when the actual cocoa gets colder, that's chocolate milk right there for it.
It's true. It's true.
Basically, so 2-in-1 drink. Tea is disgusting. Give me the sugar. So
Alex joined us to listen to the final little bit here, but she seems intrigued in this last call, so we're gonna have you turn your mic on and answer this question: warm tea or hot cocoa, or you like cold drinks on a cold day?
Hey guys, no, definitely 100% hot cocoa. I actually made myself some when I got back to the dorm. I was doing something for my first year seminar, but I popped in for the last little bit, made myself some hot cocoa, and just tuned in for a little bit. So
there you go.
Yeah, you can't beat it. The one, especially like for the holiday season, that's my favorite.
Okay.
100%.
So we got hot cocoa 2. And I was going to say, we see you're in your dorm, so you're out of quarantine. Brennan's in quarantine, so.
Oh, no. So one comes out and the other goes in?
Yep, the sports team's falling apart. But
I got out this last Friday. Friday morning I came back. So I am no longer in the pink haven.
I was going to say that the walls are white, so.
Dang. Friday morning is when I went in.
Yeah. And now you're in. How long are you in for, Brendan?
End of the semester, probably.
Oh, yeah, but another week.
Another week.
I'm going chocolate milk, guys.
Chocolate milk?
I'm not a big fan of my drinks being warm.
You can do warm hot chocolate. So that way it's not like hot chocolate, but it's not it's like just warm.
Yeah, I don't know
you
what
don't have to put any flavoring in it, just...
I don't know what it is. I've never been a fan of a drink being warm. I would drink my shower water if that were the case. But, like, no, I always prefer cold drinks. I like chocolate milk. I mean, I'm a chocolate milk connoisseur. If you ever need to know what brand of chocolate milk to drink.
I'll make chocolate milk every night before we go to bed. Chocolate milk is good.
It's good.
The goat drink, but
so are you, like, the kind of guy that, like, will drink a lot of cold beer to somehow keep yourself warm? Like, if you're at a tailgate in the Muni lot, will you drink a lot of, like, warm or cold beer just to keep your body temperature warm?
No, I don't know what I would do.
If you're in the Muni lot on December 29th for a Steelers game.
No, I'm not a big fan of beer. I mean, if I had to pick between these two, I'd probably pick hot cocoa just because of the chocolate flavor. You know what I mean?
You're not a fan of beer, and yet you're a bartender at Beat-Ups.
I'm not a fan, but I know them.
I would be 21.
But, like, warm tea, I love sweet tea, like cold tea, but I'm with Brendan. I can't stand warm tea.
I will drink, like, iced tea and stuff like that.
Yeah, like a Lipton peach tea or something like that. Those are phenomenal. But or a Snapple or a Brisk makes good tea as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't go warm tea. So now, what's your favorite cold weather hobby? Netflix binge or reading books? Alex, we'll start with you.
Oh man. All right, we got to be specific. What month are we talking?
Like November, December-ish.
For December, I mean, I like my holiday movies a lot. So I'll be binging those, like all the Netflix Christmas movies, all the Hallmark Christmas movies. I definitely will be binging those. But I do love reading, so catch me reading a lot. But I think for the winter season, I'm going to focus especially on those Christmas movies.
Okay. Brendan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading a good book right now, but I don't, like, read consistently. You know, I finish one book and then I start another. I'm not that kind of guy, but yeah, now that I'm in quarantine, I'm starting to figure out which platform has the best shows, You got Hulu, Disney Plus, and Netflix.
So do I.
So trying to figure out which one I want to watch the most here. Yeah, I'm like Alex said, definitely going to be starting to watch some of those Christmas holiday movies. I got to start a new series because I haven't started a new series in a long time. So
yeah, I'm definitely with you guys. Big movie watcher here. I'll turn on Disney Plus and throw on Marvel movies or. Right now, none of the three have Christmas movies.
They don't? I haven't looked.
Yeah, they do.
None of the three have a good selection. Like, Netflix only has The Grinch and the one Netflix original that's pretty good. Hulu doesn't have much. And then Disney Plus has, like...
Yeah, Hulu doesn't have a lot.
And then Disney Plus only has, like, Christmas Carol.
Give it to, like...
They got a lot more.
Don't they have, like, some of the character movies? Because I remember... Like last
Well, yeah, but I'm talking. I want to watch like the Santa Claus or Fred Claus or Elf.
Oh, yeah.
like
yeah, those. I remember because like
I don't know. I was on like 3 days ago. That's when I saw like there was not much. I ended up watching. I think Saturday Night Live.
Noel movie. They got Frozen. Frozen is a good one.
Is that Christmas?
Yeah, good one. I liked like all like the Mickey's Christmas Carol. Like that was my childhood.
Okay.
Like the.
Yeah, Home Alone.
Once Upon a Christmas.
I was looking for Home Alone. I couldn't find it. They must have just put it on with the last 2 days because I promise I looked like 3 days ago.
Hold on, I'm
Friday
looking right
night,
now.
I believe. I could not find it.
They will probably start putting more on.
So.
Yeah, they got the good Anna Kendrick one from last year.
I'm on Disney Plus right now. I'm gonna go scope. Wait a minute. I just have like another little window open. Oh yeah, Home Alone is on Disney Plus and A Christmas Carol.
I'm about to watch that tonight. But
it is right here. I'm looking right at it.
While we continue our search of what holiday movies we'll be binging tonight, we want to thank everyone that listens. And for Brenda DeVinny, Alexandria Patron, I'm Will Brienza. Have a wonderful evening and watch some great holiday movies for us.